Here we go. We'll try it again.
Wait, now it says upcoming because it's
Going through.
We'll see.
Start streaming again.
I'll step out here and make sure there's sound again.
Back to
And
this.
Jen was wearing a Virgil Customs tank top, but you couldn't see it.
Who knows what she's up to? All right. Well, we're going again. We'll try it again.
Okay.
I think everything on this, what I can see, it looks like it's working. So, well, looks like I got some stuff to chop up.
Oh, okay.
First video edits. I hate video editing. But now we can talk about what we're doing, which is,
Okay. Yeah.
you know what's funny is now my headphones sound so much better. I think,
Yeah, mine too. Actually,
do they?
I hear. Yeah, I hear. Right, I hear through the headphones. Sometimes it's your room sound.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what was going on, but now it seems like it's clear as a bell.
Okay.
So we're here with Hit Me. You just came in from Las Vegas, and the premise of the show is I really have no idea what the question is.
Yep.
It's something that comes up in your life or something that
Yep.
you're kind of battling with, and then you hit me with this question, and then I try to figure out if I can help you with some sage, wise advice,
Exactly.
which I don't generally have.
But it's really good to hear an opinion of someone that you respect and value what their opinion is. And in fact, this show is about opinions.
Yeah, well,
Quite about opinions.
it is. Yeah,
This
it's
particular episode. So hit me means, like he said, he doesn't know the question.
Yeah.
So the question, I phrased it as the right to be Howard. Anybody born after 2005, 10, Howard Stern was. I thought I saw him as a mentor. I didn't idolize him, but he was a mentor in that I would see him. He give his opinion. Just no, not fluff, not what's sugar coated in any way. Now I know that sure not a lot of that. I know a lot of that is shtick. That's Howard Stern, the Howard Stern show, but it was a very successful show.
Can you explain what you mean by you saw? You have knowledge of the Howard Stern show that's a little deeper than
Oh,
somebody who just listened to the radio.
yeah.
Do you want to go into any of that, or do you want to explain any
I'll
of
just
that?
give
Or
a couple sentences. I was in a couple of episodes of the Howard Stern show. Um, the New Year's Rotten Eve pageant. I was one of the contestants. I don't even remember. I think I just entered, like just cold entered.
again, just you just throw these out there and just let it blow by. You were on the. Do you know that I watched,
1994.
I watched that show?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did.
It used to be what we would call pay-per-view, and it was a Howard Stern's New Year's Rotten Eve. It was called, and as I recall, there wasn't like you couldn't email anybody, or it wasn't like, it was in 1994, and
Did you have to call into the radio show to get on?
I really don't remember, but I know that they did call me, and I had to go audition, and then after the other stuff happened after that, so I did. What did it? I'm really trying to remember, but I mean, it's up there. The proof is that it is really there. So I'm not just trying to invent things, and I just can't really remember how the process worked. I didn't have all my brain cells with me at the time.
But the bigger point is you worked around him enough to
Yeah,
to,
I
to
was
have a
the
little bit more insight than just somebody that was listening.
I was the unofficial body piercer for the Howard Stern people.
That's a big fucking deal.
Pierced Robin Quiver's ears. Pierced one of Howard's ears.
He made
So
didn't he make that thing go on for about a month? His
What?
piercing? Didn't he drag that whole thing out?
I was only there for that one time, but then I was there for the pageant. So the pageant might have come after that. Boy, I just don't even remember. Honestly, I think the pageant came first, and then he said, "Well, you should come up and pierce us or something.
That's still a
We
big
should make
deal.
a show out of that."
That's still a big deal.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, that exists on YouTube, and you don't have to pay-per-view anymore. Like, people take segments of it. I was the human pincushion
The human pincushion.
because I had lots of piercings, and at the time it was pretty freaky.
Right.
Piercing wasn't even legal. Like, you couldn't go, like, now you walk into the
Yeah.
7-Eleven and get a piercing.
I remember
bad.
when it was like really a thing. When it was to get a piercing other than you're just at the mall where you got your ear pierced was a thing. It was
Right.
hard to, it was, you had to seek it out. Right. It does. And now you can just kind of go anywhere, it looks like.
That's yeah. It's like in England. There's a pub on every corner, and there's in Arizona. There's a piercing and tattoo shop.
Yeah, there's a
You know,
lot.
every other
There's a lot.
corner at least.
So, okay, so the opinion, back to
Yeah.
your question, which is what gives you the right, what was it?
The right to be Howard, meaning that he would just give his opinions on things, and he 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 didn't like hurt people. People, women in particular, might have taken offense, but everybody knew that. I don't think anybody was hurt, or let me say this: if they were, they had a right to call and challenge it, or they could have mailed or written to his manager or something.
Right.
But it wasn't. He would give an opinion about something, and and it was part of what he was allowed to do because he was Howard.
Right.
He arrived at that spot, and I used to really admire that because I think we are right now. What the question more refined is, what gives you the right to have an opinion and speak the truth, the honest truth about something? I don't mean saying that we can go around and say, "Oh, you're fat. I don't like you because you're fat." That's two judgments right there. You're describing somebody that is fat by your scale, and then you're telling them you don't like them because of that. That's two judgments. So what allows anybody to have the right? Can we ever speak honestly?
What
So
I think that by design, the the United States of America was supposed to be that
yeah,
by design.
yeah,
And I guess the quick answer is what gives someone the right. Well, at least here, it's our First Amendment. That's what I guess ultimately gives us the right to do this.
yeah.
It
Well,
we should have we should have in a democracy and in a society a way of speaking whatever your truth is and then put it out in the public forum for debate and then let it come back. And if it still holds up, well, then you know that your opinion, if it holds water, if it can go through that whole test of everybody attacking your opinions from different sides, but if it still comes back to you were right, you were right, and you should speak that. And I think that's what originally was designed because I've been around people that didn't have that right to speak
mm-hmm,
what their truth
yeah.
was. And that's a scary proposition too. We've kind of gone people are really speaking their own versions of the truth right now, and it's becoming
Wow.
harder to figure out where where that truth is. The lines of truth are becoming blurred because
Yeah.
now we have alternative facts. That
Alternative media.
was, yeah, that was, yeah, and so hang on, that
We have a motorcycle.
yeah, the motor, yeah, we had the fucking ghetto bird was up earlier, yeah, and I don't even live in the hood, really.
Well, that's also a right to freedom to. Well, but now we can't make noise after 10. So it's that kind of refined rules that are unspoken rules, or some of them are actually on paper. No noise, like motorcycle. Can't have a party after 10 in a neighborhood. So if I set it up,
You should be but one should be careful with their opinions too and speaking them.
okay, there we come into what I'm
Yeah,
getting.
I mean, really, I think that sometimes you have the right to even you have the right to freedom of speech, but you also have a right to keep your fucking mouth shut.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's overlooked. There's
Yep.
sometimes the
Mhm.
best thing to do is keep your mouth shut.
I learned that silence speaks volumes by a friend of mine. She told me that's sometimes keeping your mouth shut is passive aggressive. By not engaging in a conversation where you have something you really want to say, but you just step back, you step out of it, and then everybody's waiting for you to say something, and you're just like, "Mm," Well, not going there. Well, that's
Yeah.
kind of passive aggressive. Silence speaks volumes. What my friend Beth said.
Yeah.
Uh, mm,
People with politics a lot. People are very quick to give their opinions
oh
to
yeah.
others when it comes to
Mm,
what they believe politically, left or right, doesn't it? Either way, it doesn't matter. And sometimes maybe you just don't interject any of that. Just do what you do, and that's fine. But also, we do need to also have the ability to really speak our minds and to have protests and to
yeah.
speak out. Your opinion. You need to weigh what
Uh,
how much
and
does your opinion matter?
as
What and how much of the fight are you willing to fight? How much fight are you willing to put up for?
today, right as we speak, there are 46 students who were arrested for protesting at Columbia University.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
for
there's a
Palestine. But I'm gonna as as this is about things that I'm struggling with. I'm gonna set up where this came from. Something you just said I wanted to spring off of. What not just what gives you the right to speak it, but sometimes we need someone to state what their opinion is, so you have a way to look at it differently than the way you thought of it. So I was at the Rockabilly Festival,
right,
and there were a couple of events that were women, like it was the poster read like the poster read "Women of Rockabilly" or the Rockabilly Queens. There was a real broad spectrum of styles of rockabilly. There were women that were blues, and there were women that were straight up rockabilly. But there was also an extreme range of ability, of what I call it's who's who's good, who's a real belter, and who just gets up there getting away with singing on that stage because they look pretty. So I feel that I have the right to state my opinion. I don't know how many years have I been. My show is at just about 10 years,
right.
and I do a lot of research. I meet
You do a ton of compared to
ridiculous.
what I do for this show. You're
Ridiculous amount of research. And so when I now and I've seen and I also communicate with these women if or anybody, any of the bands, if they're alive, meaning I can't talk to Chubby Checker, but if they're alive, I reach out to them. Now that we have Instagram Messenger, we have ways you can figure out somebody's email with a couple of
right,
different arrangements. But I feel that I have an informed, educated opinion to say that this person singing is she ain't got nothing,
right,
but she looks pretty. And another one is the bomb. Now they're all on the same stage. If I was to do a review, I'm not an official. I'm not Tom Reardon.
right,
And I'm not Arizona Republic. I'm not on the New Times or Arizona Central. I don't have an official uh, uh, title as a press news music reviewer. But what about those people? When do they ever actually drop somebody under the throw somebody under the bus because you know they're not a really great musician or they're not a great singer, but she looks good, but she can't really sing. I had a confrontation with somebody who thought I was being way too critical because I was honest, and the person that was arguing with me said that well, I should just say, well, look what it took for her to get up there and do that. She had a lot of guts to get up there and do that. It takes a lot, and there were a lot of women that would just love to be there and just don't do that, do what she does. And
right.
well,
I would like to be James Hetfield of Metallica, but I'm not. I don't.
but you don't aspire to be that. There are women that are in
No.
that audience who aspire to be on that stage,
Right.
and a couple that we know, or people that we know whose boyfriends playing a band, and they just want me to. Oh, I wish I could do that. But
Yeah.
what are they? They're looking at virtually a fashion model who can sing three notes, and then somebody else gets up there, and she looks great. She also plays guitar or bass or drums, and then she's got a full range of two octaves. Now, do I not have a right to say, check her out? Look at her
Well,
compared to the other one.
yeah, of course you do.
No,
Of
apparently
course
I
you do.
don't.
You have a you have an opinion which is much different than hers, obviously. But I don't think that there's anything that's wrong with it. I think you're pointing out things that are, especially in music sometimes, you can have a not very gifted person on stage.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at some
Hmm.
of what goes on now, I don't know how much of live performances a lot of these artists are even singing any longer.
Mm.
It's a big, gigantic dance choreography event with a lot of lip syncing. Now, did they sing it originally? Maybe.
Mm.
Did
Like
they auto tune the shit out of it? Yeah.
Saturday Night Live. It's like they're lip syncing to their own track.
Yeah. And it's got to be, I mean, from the artist perspective, how much does that have to suck?
Yeah, yeah. But so if it was Howard Stern, he
Right.
would say, "Oh, listen to her. She sounds like Minnie Mouse," something like that,
Yeah.
And he can get away with that. It'd be funny. But wow, a couple of people felt that I just shouldn't have said anything. I didn't like stand at the top of the alligator bar and say, "Oh, that person she sucked."
But the
I
thing
was
is,
just expressing opinion in a hotel room, and I really got chewed out. And I started to think, oh, do we have to be diplomatic about everything? Can I not ever say my real opinion anymore about
right.
anything? I think you should be able to do that, but it always seems to be wrong. It's if I say, that suit and that tie don't match. I don't know. I can't, maybe that's the case where I don't really have enough information or knowledge or education to wear a suit and a tie and know what's best. But somebody does. Some bespoke tailor or Savile Row tailor in London is going to say that pinstripe suit doesn't work with the gingham pants.
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, I mean, it. There seems to be a couple layers to that conversation, which is one, uh, uh, are they okay, the person you were arguing with, their contention was that not that they were a good singer and should be up there for that reason, but
Right.
but it took a lot of bravery
Mm-hmm.
and that they really wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's maybe not how you judge music. It, by there's a lot of starving artists out there. There's
Exactly, who are really good.
yeah,
And
there's a
that
ton
was
of
the
them.
point I made. So they were sort of
Yeah.
people who never got up, they were never been able to get that slot, who were really great. And really, I don't even know how musicians can do it anymore, other than that now you can self-produce. You could do your YouTube channel and then you can
Yeah.
bring your stuff to the world. It's not Capitol Records or Atlantic anymore. So there is that.
But so the what gives you the right to be Howard Stern? Well, this does. I mean, this gives you your opinion. This gives you the same thing that it gave him. He just had a bigger audience and
Mm,
more people laughed.
mm.
He still didn't hold back his opinion,
No,
nor did you from the sounds of it. And if you weren't getting down with it, you weren't getting down with it. If it's wrong and you can see it on its face, then you're right, and the cream will rise to the top. Those people won't exist for much longer. They might exist for a bit, but they won't. There's no staying power. There's nothing that beauty only goes so goddamn far.
well, yeah, they better have something else to
Yeah,
do after a few years, because when you lose the beauty, you better have a brain or real talent or write music or write your or learn an instrument.
I mean, I
I,
could name off several
mm,
unattractive musicians that I can. There's some of them aren't lookers,
but they play.
but they can play.
Yeah, and like
And
the house band, for example, they're great musicians, and nobody's challenging them because they're professionally great musicians. The first person I started debating this with felt that the public votes for whether or not that person's good. They leave the room. They walk away. They don't buy a ticket. They say, I don't want to go see her. Okay, that's in her opinion, that's you don't need critics like
Right.
me.
You vote with your wallet. That
Yeah,
the idea of
yeah,
that.
well,
Okay.
yeah. And you don't need a critic like me to possibly give my view, my take, my angle from 10 years of doing my radio show. That it was just if you have the power, you have the hiring power. If you're the one that hires her, yeah, then. But so why is the person who hires these musicians choosing her? That gets real deep because if I say the answer to that, then I'll be really singling out who it is or who the two or three people are.
Right.
It's like, in other words, they know somebody
Yeah.
and
Well,
nepotism.
I mean, some events. I mean, we're not talking about like the Grammys. I mean, it's a show.
No.
It's kind of obscure. I mean, people watch anything and think it's good. You were in Vegas. Isn't the fucking
It,
Blue Man Group still
it
going
is.
on up there?
It is.
Okay, so that there's a segment of the population that will go to the Blue Man Group and think that that's great.
Yeah.
That was great entertainment, and maybe it is. I don't know. There's no goddamn way I'm gonna go see that, or people stomping on trash cans. That's
That's stomp.
yeah. It's
That's
just like
stomp.
you're never gonna
Yeah,
convince me that that's
paying for
music.
tickets.
Yeah, I don't.
$100 a ticket to start.
Yeah, people they'll like anything. Is they don't have to have. Some people don't. They don't go very deep either in what they think. They need to see the pretty person. Some people need to see the pretty person, and they don't have an ear for real music or real talent. They just
want-
judge by their
They
eyes.
want to see. But Howard Stern, and people like Jerry Springer, like there are people that would the negative or the sort of irony or sarcasm is what drew people in. Jerry
Yeah.
Springer being the most extreme example. He's not around anymore, but he used to do a show where people would turn on to watch husbands and wives fight and tear each other's hair out,
Yeah.
and it was staged, but.
It was
Judge Judy, things like that. People watch it. They don't want to. They don't want to look at pretty. They want to hear somebody tearing somebody's eyes out.
yeah.
Somebody really having a go at somebody else. And Howard would play on that a lot. Howard being an example, but I think it's really on TV all the time. All the reality shows. Nobody would want to watch the Housewives if they were just wrapping Christmas presents.
Right.
They want to see them just get catty
Yeah.
in the eyebrow salon, with a bikini. What do you call that?
Oh, what does that say about
Bikini wax salon.
human nature is a strange thing that people
Yeah.
they're compelled towards that.
Yeah.
They want to. That's what they want to see. That's what they want to watch. Which, okay. I mean, I don't really watch any shit on TV anymore. I kind of gave up a long time ago. I mean, lately I've been watching the dark side of pro wrestling, which is
Is there such a thing?
well, yeah,
That?
yeah, oh yeah,
It's called that.
yeah, or yeah, I think it's the dark side of pro wrestling.
Wow.
Yeah,
What happens there?
a lot of shady, nefarious shit. Pro wrestling's dirty, filthy business. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the crazy things that you see that are the stage things that you see people throwing each other off
Oh no, this is more about like
in a cage.
what happens behind the scenes when they're on the painkillers and
Oh.
the rise and fall of
Oh.
some of these guys over the last 30 years. There's some pretty wild stories.
Wow.
But I mean, again, so I'm watching that. I mean, somebody else would look at that and say it's fucking garbage. What are you watching that for?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just find
But
it
it-
interesting, and it's another version of a train wreck. It's just not as fast paced, or it's a slow train wreck. It takes an hour to tell the story of one train wreck, where Real Housewives, it's every 2.5 minutes. I'm sure somebody's
that. Mhm.
throwing something at somebody else,
Yeah.
but
Of course, those things are also about the sponsorship. You gotta have them. Somebody drives up in a Hummer because the Hummer is supporting that show. But so you're watching the Dark Side of Wrestling with a bunch of people on the couch, a bunch of friends, and you say that guy, he has no idea what he's doing. Look how he got him in a
right,
half Nelson, but his foot's in the air. Or like I don't know,
right.
or that move is illegal. He doesn't know what he's doing. and somebody says to you, "Well, who do you think you are?"
Right.
Well, you come from some knowledge, let's say.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I guess I would have at least somewhat of a background to talk on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly what I mean. But
eh,
yet everybody tells you just shut up because what are you like? We think that guy should have a right to embarrass himself and be slaughtered.
yeah,
But people don't see it that way. Because there's somebody out in the audience that says, "I wish I could be that guy. I just want to get in that ring. I just want to have that opportunity." Uh, 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 I just want.
I think it's okay to use your opinions and to
Yeah,
I think in the circumstance in which you're explaining, I think you're completely justified and valid to have you have more than an informed opinion. You do your rockabilly radio show.
yeah,
You've been in music, involved in music. You play music. You've been on. I mean, fu-
yeah.
I got your tape right here, the
That's it.
cassette tape
The videotape. But
from a long time. I mean,
yeah, but long
so
history.
you have you've at least reached the stage. And I don't know if the people that you were having these conversations with had even reached the stage
No.
in any parts of their life. What and by that I mean, some people never can achieve anything that they really want to set out to do. So they'll always I feel like they look at things with a skewed outlook on it because they never achieved it. Why do people
Yeah.
it seems like the biggest football fans are always the guy that never fucking played.
Okay, there you go.
The biggest
That-
sports fan is always the guy that never played the sport.
What do they call armchair quarterbacks?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they are they're the biggest fucking Monday morning quarterback. Well, there you go. The term comes right from that, and there's no shortage of them in the fall
Okay.
on Monday.
So what do you think about women sportscasters doing football, covering football?
I don't really care for it. I didn't care for it because
They have not played.
there was a lot of things I didn't care for, which is why the NFL and football and major sports soured me.
Mm.
And part of it it was it wasn't because they didn't play, but it kind of. It is a little difficult to explain or to have the same background as somebody that's been just walloped by a defensive end coming around the corner at 200 miles an hour. Like, if it's a dude that's had it happen to him, I trust his opinion and how much it hurts and his explanation maybe a little more. But what soured me was they brought in the women at the same time that they tried to do a bunch of other things in the NFL, which was their throwback uniforms and the pink breast cancer awareness shoes. And yet it was all a fucking marketing ploy. And it was designed to bring more women in as fans to sell more shit. And then now look what teams, they're not wearing those jerseys this week. They're wearing these new jerseys this week that at the time cost 100. Who fucking knows how much they cost now? But you got to have that too if you want to come to the game and be part of the event. And there was a lot of. I thought it was disingenuous. To be fair with you, and look, I'll fucking tell a story that I'm still proud of to this day. I participated in high school sports at a varsity level when it mattered and shit. No, there was no free trophies. There was no second place. You either won or you lost. You got your head kicked in on Friday night. That was what it was. And there was no freebies. I played inside linebacker in the Midwest. And one time they tried to put they brought a girl in, okay? She
To do what?
she was going to be a lineman.
Okay.
She was not very big. She might have been 150 pounds. She did okay. This is a varsity football game between two rival towns, it matters in that circumstance and in that circle, in that social, and this game matters to high school kids, okay, and to me at the time. So they bring in a girl and hey guys, the referees are telling us, hey, they're gonna put a girl here on the line, so just guys be careful.
Oh,
Now
yeah. Mm.
I'm calling the defense. I called our defense. So that meant that I gave the plays. So I realized that this 140-pound girl is standing between me and ultimate glory of smashing the quarterback behind her. I called my own number. I just went right through her. I didn't care because as far as I was concerned, it would have been demeaning had I backed down, had I backed up a little bit, had I backed off a little bit. I feel like that's the bigger rub on the lady that came in to play the position than to, all right, you want to come play, then come play. This is what it is. That's how I looked at it when I was 17 years old, which was you're on a high school football field against guys that have spent their entire lives to this point trying to get to this play. And now we're going to slow down and stop. Like, this is before you had the participation trophies. This is when shit mattered to me. Like, it mattered if we won or lost that game, and that girl being in front of me was no athletic match. I would have looked at her as the same as if they would have put a 140-pound guy in there.
Yeah.
He wasn't gonna.
Yeah. That's important. That's
He wasn't gonna. Yeah, I would have called my own number then, and I would have went right through him if given the same opportunity. I just felt it was tremendously unfair to her to put her in that situation, and then everybody just back off a little bit for one play. That's not how it works. That's not how life works. Life, you ever notice life just when you're getting hammered, life doesn't slow down to take it easy on you. It seems like it piles on even more.
Yeah, this may, I think it's a good example, and I'm not sure. So there's a lot there about women in sports, but I just
I
made
don't,
that
and
person.
I don't mind women in sports at all.
No,
I don't understand why why don't they just have one professional basketball league?
well, no. So I guess I'm
One,
not talking about the athletic ability. It would be the reporter going into the locker room and talking about it without having any experience. This is where I'm coming from. So somebody we rely on somebody as much as I think they're jerks because I watch it on the so that I call it sauna TV when I'm at the gym. I just watch the TV in the sauna and I don't know what they're talking about. I can't hear it. But they're these two older football like Bradshaw. It's like two older football guys
right,
talking. They know
right.
they have a right to their opinion because they know. When you throw a young reporter into the locker room to start talking about plays, she may be educated, but is that the person that should be giving? Do we want to see her being one of the talking heads? Um, and I'm not, and so it doesn't really matter the gender here. It could be a guy that is completely book learned, coming out of Harvard and read everything there could be read about football, knows all the who the best players were and all that stuff, but it's never played.
Right.
Is it? Does he have? He has the right to speak, but do I value what he says? And don't I need the ombudsman? The people who can guide thinking to be to be more knowledgeable, more coming from a more knowledgeable approach. Do you have to take an engine apart
Y-
to like cars or talk about cars? No, but it sure helps to have
Yeah, it
some
does.
knowledge.
But you know what's funny is we just gave one gigantic example of an opinion that people are going fucking nuts over,
Which is,
which is what we just discussed. Women sports reporting. There's, I can already see the arguments to both for and against.
hmm
I can feel the attacks coming from both sides.
but I agree. I do
And
feel both sides.
and
Yeah.
it's funny that So just to play the devil's advocate, we both are probably of the same opinion, but we don't want we don't want the lady reporter that didn't play to ask the questions, even though she possibly could ask an even more intelligent question than the rockhead that played 20 years ago. We want his opinion, even though he might ask a dumb question.
Okay, I don't.
No, I just,
It's a gender. I think the gender's confusing it though, and that's my fault. Gender's confusing it because it could be like I said, the nerd.
the nerd,
locker
yeah,
room,
but
you know, whatever
is it more
gender.
palatable?
Yeah.
Is it more palatable on the eyes and brain if it is the nerd guy and you just don't know that he didn't play? Or is it
Yeah.
outright you can tell that this guy never played it?
Here's an example. Of substance abuse counselors who have their PhD in
Right.
chemistry and psychology combined. All those good things, but they never took a drug in their lives. Do they have a clue how to counsel someone?
Hmm.
Or a rape counselor
Right.
that is sitting in, called into the police station, social worker, rape counselor, somebody who has been raped, and
Now,
and
yeah,
have
now
someone
I
to say,
feel like,
"Oh, I really feel sorry for you. You should have never gone out with that skimpy wardrobe." Well, what?
right.
Who are you? Have you ever been raped?
Right. No, now I feel like now that you give other examples in different contexts, well, I feel that, yeah, of course you're gonna value that person's opinion a little more than the other. Typically, typically.
Well, we have, people with musicology degrees, and we have people who are. I had another example. I lost it, but just playing an instrument. I know enough. I know enough about guitar playing. I've been playing for decades to admire someone and to know what they're doing, but I'm definitely not going to give that opinion openly because I've I am not where they are in
Right.
guitar, but I have an informed position, and I can say, "Did you see how he dropped that minor seventh on top of the augmented fifth or something?" And what good would that be? That would be a book learned knowledge, and but I can just so did you see that guy play? He's really great. But to be more critical, um, yeah, it's a hard position, and I really I don't think it's about gender because if we go down that path, then who sets the bar on guitar players? Who's a good guitar player?
Jimi Hendrix sets the bar. I love it.
What does that mean that by Jimi Hendrix by the Greenwich Mean Time by which all clocks are set?
Yes.
Yes, yes. Oh, I thought it was terrible. No, but no. See, I would never. But because, but why do we have to say women guitar player? This happens at Viva all the time.
Yeah.
Did you see so and so? She's a great one. People talk about. I'm not going to use names in this. People talk about some of the women playing guitar there, and they'll say she's a great woman guitar player. Well, is she a great guitar player?
That brings me back to what the professional sports thing again. Why isn't there just one league? Just one. The best basketball players,
Guess
the
not.
best baseball
Guess
players, the best football. Well,
Yeah, well,
because we have these weird like bait and switches in that go on in America, which is we want to celebrate that, oh, she's a great woman guitar player, but then when you bring up, well, wait a minute, can't anybody play the guitar? Well, now the lines get blurred again, and but we have these things that go on all the time. They're promoted as this event, a women's only guitar playing event, and they're the greatest women guitar. Why can't they just be the greatest guitar players?
well, in that one where it is a woman with among 10 women, then you know that you are going to see the accomplishments of great women guitar players. So I think that that works. But if you are watching 10 different bands and they're all different guitar players, and then somebody says, "Did you see what she did? She's great." It's like good for a woman. It's like great for a woman.
Yeah.
That's what's the underlying unspoken,
Yeah,
you
backhanded
know.
compliment. It's
Yeah,
I
backhand compliment. Yeah, so it's just it irks me. And then, in the context of that show, there were also different styles happening in that show. There was a blues singer, a rockabilly singer. There's but it's all what I call hashtag rockabilly. It works as hashtag rockabilly. So, when you want to, if I'm going to make comparisons to other women, I feel like I have the right to. I can compare them to Etta James. I can compare them to you know, uh, just off the top of my head, like Annie Leopardo or the Blues Bombs. When we're talking about women in the context of women, I think that if you have enough educated research, and you really dig beyond what I call beyond the fourth O of Google, you got to like dig, not just the first 10 things that drop. You got to go beyond Wikipedia, and you'll hear me say that a lot if you listen to the show. I'm always going to talk about where people do their research. The internet not just makes it easy, but it also very dangerous because it starts to um, narrow down what your research is. It's kind of like, well, if you like this, shows you a YouTube video, it's looking at your YouTube history, then you're gonna like this. Now you're only looking at those bands. How are you ever gonna see a new band? If it just keeps feeding you. So it's the same thing with information. If I only use Wikipedia, I need to dig deeper. Um, I I was there was a performer called Les Green that just blew everybody away. I didn't know where he came from, but somebody said, "Oh, he was on American Idol," and then somebody said, "Oh no, he was on." That they named this kind of like a superficial lack of research. They just go by what they heard, and by the time it gets to the third or fourth person, it was like they won American Idol and they won Dancing with the Stars, and here they are. But if you do the research, so I have to do the research on him. But he was just really amazing, and he was like channeling Little Richard. But what do we know about Little Richard? If you just go to Wikipedia, you're going to know the same 15 things as anybody else. Does anybody know who Escarita is? Escarita was the guy that Little Richard admired. There's just so much. I mean, they were both gay black men in Macon, Georgia. And it was just this what we see is the person that got the record contract. But there's so many. You would like that story more because, yeah, but it's too long to do now. We have about 5 minutes,
yeah.
so that'll be continued.
So
Yeah.
the important thing is in the end what gives you the right to be Howard Stern? I still think that you have the right and you should always speak if somebody doesn't agree with it
Hmm.
and it, it's okay. It's not that opinion seemed to be probably well thought out on your part. You probably saw things that they were blind to or they were willingly blind to or they saw things from a different perspective. Maybe they might have just needed to see the pretty lady.
Or
That
or
might be
dance to the music.
yeah, that might
Mm.
it's but the
Many.
point is you should still be able to speak your mind and if their argument is, well, they really wanted to be there, that's not the qualifications for a good musician.
Yeah.
Want and desire are not putting in the work and achieving.
I
A-
want to
a-
be there too, but I have to do the work. I got to
a-
put the work in.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I would want to do,
Yeah.
but I don't put any work into doing it. I want one of those fucking new Tesla trucks, but I don't. I've done no, I've done nothing to have it. I don't make business bank investments that pay off in lucrative sums.
So there's the guy that has to review that truck.
Right.
There's a reporter. What's that company that always gives the award? I forget
Oh, the
JP
JD
Power or something.
Associate. Yeah, I think that those are ones that they buy into, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that that might be.
Say that, but the person that writes that, even if he's getting paid or sponsored by the other company, by the alternative truck, there's somebody that's writing a negative opinion about 9 other trucks, or they're giving 4 stars to one, 3 stars to another, and that person's gonna be attacked. I
Yeah,
felt like I was attacked for giving an honest review. I don't even want to call it an opinion, an honest review of the show. So I guess anybody like my friend Beth, who is always my guide in how you're supposed to say things in the world. 'Cause she's in a position at the library where she has to really be more of a social worker sometimes. But I have to say it in a way that is like I shouldn't just get up there. Well, look at her. She just sings three notes and she sucks. No, I don't say that.
Right.
I don't. But I'm critical. But how much do we have to parse around and dance around, the real way that we want to say it? It's
It's
why we got people breaking down the capitals with fuck Biden flags. I mean, yeah, yikes,
yeah, we have
yikes! If they can do that,
it
why
is a
can't
little
I just say, hey, she just needs to get better?
maybe maybe the other point is that maybe you just need to hang around people that can take a strong opinion and cut those other people out
That's
that
a good one.
no really, I mean, if you
I
can't
like that.
why would you want to hang around somebody you couldn't speak your opinion with? Is that really your friend? Because I feel like my friends know that I will say shit and then change my mind 5 minutes later because I know after I said it, what I said was completely wrong and I thought about it. Or I'll say something and they'll look at me and go, "What the fuck are you talking about? You nuts?"
Well, then if
But
it's
they
saying
can
it's
take the strong opinion and then
uh,
they can give me the counterpoint rather than just they wanted to be there longer. Well,
mm,
no, screw you. Or if they just don't like my opinion, those people tend to not be around me
mm.
by my choice or theirs. Because I can rub people the wrong way.
Well, if you can walk the world as a loner, which I know you do mostly, um,
No,
th-
I
well,
don't know if I do or if I do, but I don't. I don't.
well,
I'm comfortable in being.
the person who does that truly doesn't care about opinions or about how they fit or work with anybody. But when I'm saying something like that, I'm in a community of people. I'm in a dance community, or if I'm doing something else, I'm in a hip hop community, or if I'm doing then something else again, I'm in a guitar player community. So I don't wanna just lash out and say, yeah, that guy's that's a terrible dancer. He says sucks as a dancer. Like he didn't have he only had three moves. I've been around the hip hop scene for a long time and I dance it, but still, I'm not one of the judges at the hip hop competition. But in that judging and in that battle, there are three people there that have to throw two under the bus. I mean that's hard to do. I imagine after that competition where you got them going like, okay, judges, and they go like that, and they pick one person. They got three people in the finalists. I mean, three judges and two teams. Who's gonna win afterwards? They must get a lot of like
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
microphone drop. You know,
Well, I'm sure a lot of people aren't happy with
yeah.
their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
You got to
I
be
feel
happy
like you
with.
should always be comfortable in the company you're around to if you're gonna call them your friends and you're gonna really kind of hang around with these people, you should feel comfortable enough around them to speak your honest opinion, and they should also feel comfortable enough around you to speak theirs. But if you feel like you're self-censoring a lot, mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
that's something that
not much better.
sometimes you need to you have to self-censor a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but there's other times that your opinion's your opinion, and there's nothing wrong with stating it. And if you think that they sucked, they sucked. It's just that's okay.
Yeah, I self-censoring is not exactly what I'm doing, but I am curating my show. So there's some women I won't play. Some musicians in general, I just won't play. Oh my goodness, I get an email saying I'm just sending you an MP3 of my song and we transfer. And then they'll email me a week later and say, "Did you play my song? I didn't hear my song." And I'll say, "Well, quite honestly, I don't really like theme songs about COVID. You can send me a song about toilet paper rolls. I got 10 this week." You know, and I can say that in an email. And you know what? I'll say that on my show, but I'm protected because I am not live interacting with people. A
Right.
music writer or a sports writer, an anything writer, a movie critic. There's a good one, a movie critic. If they say that every movie is great, then you're not going to trust their opinion anymore.
Right.
Or you're going to be angry at them because you go to the movie, you spend, $50 with two tickets and a popcorn. And you spend $50 and what the hell was good about that? They said it was good, you know. So I think that we really need some people to say, from an educated point of view, well, be Howard. Know your audience,
Know your audience.
but don't write for that. Write what you really feel, because somebody's got to give an opinion, or somebody's got to address a topic from an educated point of view.
Yeah.
And there you have it.
Yeah. So what gives us the right? I guess that we're lucky that we have it. That's the big, like, that before we leave, that's the one thing we should like always remember is we should be grateful that we have the ability to have an opinion.
We've both been in places where you do not have that right.
Yeah, and to be able to speak. Look, half of the reason why I do this show is just because we can. Just because we can.
Yeah.
Like, there's no right now, today anyway. There's nothing that can happen to us for doing this show. We have the freedom and the privilege to discuss anything that we want.
In a year, we will not be on TikTok.
Well, yeah, fuck off.
This is the voting and the legislation right now.
In a year, we'll be lucky if we're here.
Okay, well, I don't feel that yet. All right.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Say
let's
bye.
get out of here with that. Until then, everyone exercise your opinions. Make sure you state them.
And I won't hurt you.
Yeah.
I won't bite you for it.
Yeah, I might. All right. Hey, till next week. Thanks, Backpack. You always throw me a
Right.
good one that I don't know the answers to.
Good.
But till then, see you later. Bye.
All right. I'll take my